Welcome back to my channel. Today we are working on programming challenge 11, which is the last programming challenge in this chapter 14 in the book Starting Out with Java. This programming challenge, we have to create a slot machine simulation program where we give the user a GUI that will allow them to enter an amount of money, and then we will generate three random pictures, and if these three random pictures match, the user will win the double whatever they entered. Otherwise, they will not win anything. We also have to keep track of how many times the user won, or the total. Let me explain everything. I wrote it down line by line. So I created this application. It is called Slot Machine Simulation. It extends application. I created a group variable to contain all the elements in the GUI, all the components or the objects in the GUI. Here is the button. I call it spin, just like the book showed me. And here is two labels. Label 1 will contain the amount the user won each time they spin the program. And label 2 will contain the running total of the things that they previously won. Here is the text field variable that will contain, that will show the user where to enter the amount that they want to play. Here is the array, an integer array that will contain three images. Here I created a string array that will contain the path of the images. I have lime, orange, and peaches. You can have any kind of a image. It doesn't have to be these specific ones. I also created three image arrays, as well as three image an array for image views that will have three slots. Here I created the result and the total. The result is how much the user won each time they spin, and the total is the total amount that the user won. In the start method, I created the title, which is slot machine simulation. Call the array, this method called getArray, which will generate the random array for us. I also call the setUI method that I created. This method is to set all the components in each position, like the images, the text field, the labels, and all that. And here I just printed the method. Spin button, I added an event listener. That way, whenever the user clicks the button, this code will be executed. First, I created a variable called amount. I set this to 0, and then I used if statement to make sure the user entered something in the text field in order to calculate how much they won. Otherwise, the program will crash. So I just said, if the user entered something, we will store whatever they entered into the amount variable. Called the setUI again because I want the random random array to be generated one more time when I run when the user clicks the spin button. Here in this if statement, I said if the amount is at least $1, because if it is $0, then there wouldn't be any point of running the program. So the amount has to be at least $1, and there has to be a winner. There has to be 3 images that match. And if this condition comes as true, this code will be executed, which here I stored the result variable, the amount, whatever the user entered times 2, essentially doubling the amount. And then I updated the label, the spin label, which will first we will tell the user what this label is about. Say amount 1 this spin, and we will display it here. And we will also add whatever the result is, to the running total, because we have to make sure that the application is keep tracking of these numbers. And then we will set the running total label, total amount 1, we will set that label as well. Here, if there is no either there's no winner, if there's no winner and the user didn't enter anything, then we have to set the spin label to essentially to contain only this amount 1, this spin, because we want to update this label, the spin label, to only show the last spin. We don't want to show previous spin, because that job will be the label 2's job. The label 2 will contain the running total, and the label 1 in this entire job is to show what the user won for that spin. So after this button, spin button, I created a scene to add the group to the scene, and I set the entire graphic to have 700 pixels wide, 500 pixels high or in height, and then I set the stage scene. I added the scene here, and we showed the GUI. This method, it returns a group. It's called a set UI. Inside this method, we call the getArray method to generate a random array. Here I created X and Y the positions. I initialized it with 170 pixels from the left, 20 pixels from the top. Created a try and catch statement. So inside this try catch statement, I created a for loop. This for loop will iterate 3 times, and we just instantiate the image, and this image will contain the images. We set the images, we instantiate it, and here in the image view, we set the image view to each image. Inside this image, we essentially generate a random image here, because this ARR, this is the array, which is randomly generated. Each time the for loop runs, there will be a random essentially 3 images that will be generated. Here we set all the 3 images inside this for loop. And here we set the X and Y position of each image views. And here I initialized 170 pixels and 20 pixels. The Y-axis will not change, since the 3 images will sit in a horizontal line. So we don't actually need this Y variable. It's not actually necessary, but this is absolutely necessary. The X position necessary, because we don't want the three images to sit on top of each other. We want to separate them each time the for loop runs. And the way we can do that is to add 120 pixels each time the for loop runs, so that one image will sit here, another image will sit here, and the third will sit here, and all three images will be visible. So that's why I added here x plus 120 pixels. Here I said set layout x, I passed x, set layout y, I passed y, and after we set the x and y of the image views, then we have to add the image views to the group variable here. I created the label for the amount label that will show the amount, and then I set the font of that label. I set the x and y for the amount label to sit 100 from the left and 200 from the top. I also set the x and y for the text field, for the label 1 and label 2. And also I set the x and y for the spin, and I added all the components for this to the group, and then we return the group. Here in this method, get array, it will return an integer array. I created a random class variable, and here in the for loop, ARR will contain the randomly generated number, which would be 0, 1 to 2. And then we return the array. In this Boolean method, is to check whether the three numbers are the same. So it will return a Boolean. So we say, is the first number or the first position the same the second position? If that is true, then we will compare the first position to the third position. And if that is also true, that means there is a winner. Otherwise, this method will return false, which means that there is no winner. So let's run the program and see how the program actually works. As you can see, the program starts with these three fruits, but they are not the same. So if we insert $5 and we run, we haven't actually won anything, because it stays the same. If we run again, we don't win anything, because there is orange, peach, and lime. If we run again, there is 2 peaches, 1 lime, and now we won because we got 3 peaches. As you can see here, we won for this spin $10, and the reason it is $10 is because we only decided 5, and 5 times 2 is 10. And here is the total. Total is 10. If I run again, this should go away, but this should stay. As you can see, this went away, and this is the running total. We keep, also we won again, and here you can see 20, and here is 10. We actually did exactly what they wanted us to do. So thank you for watching this tutorial. If you find it helpful, please subscribe, give this video a like, and if you have any questions, comment down below.